Adrenal fatigue is the condition whereby the adrenal glands are driven to failure by overexertion. So what that means for the adrenal glands is basically that individuals are under stress all the time and they're trying to squeeze more cortisol out of their adrenal glands to improve their function and ability to get things accomplished. Uh, of course, some of these are also driven by fear and unreasonable emotions that people develop, or perhaps reasonable emotions that people develop in very stressful situations. What this can look like is either someone who's working too many hours or someone who's just driving themselves to stay up too late at night. And a lot of times after 10 o'clock, people begin to feel a second wind and they can accomplish more and get more done between, say, 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the morning, or 10 o'clock at night and 2 o'clock in the morning than they can at any other time of the day. And then they wake up in the morning tired and have to drink a lot of coffee and do a lot of other things just to get themselves going. And then eventually, again, at night, they drive themselves too much. They try to get a second adrenal activation out of the day. After 10 o'clock, then your body begins to secrete more cortisol, which is what helps with that nighttime clarity and being able to get things accomplished. But that subsequently can have a detrimental effect on the body, which is the body shuts down, doesn't want to make any more cortisol, and your adrenal glands just don't want to do what they're supposed to do. This condition, you can check cortisol levels and you can check DHEA levels, and you can also check IL-1, interleukin-1 levels, which are elevated in people who have panic disorder or are fearful of things and are very anxious, and those numbers will be elevated in people with adrenal fatigue. And the condition can be treated, of course. There's nothing that can be as helpful as changing your lifestyle and pattern and expectations and trying to address the disorders of consciousness that lead to adrenal fatigue. But it's also important for people who have chronic fatigue and other problems similar to it, that adrenal fatigue can act as the trigger for the onset of myalgic encephalitis and chronic fatigue syndrome, simply because of the effect that cortisol has on viruses and atypical bacteria. When you have a lot of cortisol in your body, then basically you're driving these viruses that are dormant to become active. And this is a good thing potentially in the setting of what we do, which is get them to be active and give them antivirals at the right time when during their cycle of activity. But if you're doing this without taking anything to try to get rid of those viruses or atypical bacteria, then you're setting yourself up for a lot of problems, and you can induce your own case of myalgic encephalitis and chronic fatigue syndrome. So please try to not do that.